So we all know Google Chrome. Most of us use it. So this one is popular and is widely used, especially on Android devices. So for those of us who use smartphones that are Android, most of us have Google Chrome. And in fact, we are using Google to search as a search engine. For those who are using computers, so Microsoft Edge is mostly a default browser on Windows computer, and it mostly uses Bing. That is Microsoft Bing as a search engine. And then those who are using Apple devices, if you're using an iPhone, you have an iPad, you have MacBooks, then you might find you're using Safari for browsing. And then you have Mozilla Firefox, which has been there for years. It's also a web browser, and it's good for its speed, security, and customization. So these are web browsers, while we have search engines, that is Google, which can be used in any browser. We have Microsoft Bing, which mostly is used with Microsoft Edge. And then we have Yahoo, which can also be used with other browsers. But most people do use Google and Bing for those who are using computers. So to summarize this, we can say the key difference is that a web browser is the software used to access websites. That is Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Safari, and Mozilla, while a search engine is a tool within the browser that helps users find information. That is Google, Bing, and others. That is why when you open your Google Chrome, you'll find Google. When you open your Microsoft Edge, you'll find Bing inside. So you are typing on a Google as a search engine, but you are using Google Chrome as a web browser. I hope you're getting the point.
Yeah, I think that is good. If there is any question, people write in the chat box. So maybe I can read the question before you go, Irene, or can I read at the end? Can I read the question, then you can elaborate it, or we can go through the end?
Read.
What should I do?
Read it. Read it.
Okay, there is a question from Martin Mwakilasa. How to use? You have to be online with your. No. That question is coming from
the 3 questions. That is an answer from the 3 questions I asked earlier.
Okay. So please, can you go on?
We have a question. It's a question from Matthias. You can read that one. The last one.
The last one? But just another brainstorm question. How these tools are applicable to our students? Because most of them, they don't have such tools. That is from Matthias.
Yeah, that's a very good question. This is a competence as a teacher you have to teach in your class. And because this improved curriculum is more practical, so as a teacher, you need to find ways to ensure that you have these devices. So when you're teaching this competence, you need to have either laptops, computers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe for those who are teaching government schools, in schools, most teachers do have tablets. So you can use their tablets when you are teaching this. You can just pick some few tablets, go with them in a class. But if you have 2 smartphones, a laptop, computers, then you can also use them. We do understand that students are not allowed to come in school with phones, but again, the competence wants them to practice. So you need to find a way to make sure that you have these resources in your classroom to make it more practical. I hope I've answered.
Okay, you can go on.
Again, a few questions, because now we have seen browsers and search engines. You can just tell us in the chat box what browser is in your phone right now, and what search engine do you prefer, and how often do you use them? The 3 questions.
Yes, participants, you are welcome to chat in a chat box by responding on those questions. What browser is in your phone? You may search in your phone. What search engine do you prefer? How often do you use them? Wow. The answers are coming. Thank you very much, Haika, to be the first one. Haika said that I have Google Chrome and Google. Major Google Chrome. Haika mostly use Google. I usually use Google from a master. Christopher says Google. Irene Chahe, Bingi Chrome. Major, I use searching teaching materials. Anna Pendaeli said that Google Chrome mostly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
those are
think
great
those.
answers. I can see Google is the most preferred one. And for those who are using computers, I know you might be using Microsoft Edge. And some of you, as you've said, you're using Opera Mini as well. So yeah, we have varieties, but Google remains number one.
Irene Maganga said ChatGPT, Google Chromes. I hope ChatGPT is a search engine too. Is that okay? Is that correct, Irene? That ChatGPT is so...
ChatGPT and AI. You can
Yes.
search it in Google and you'll find it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on. So in this next part, I'm going to try to explain how a teacher can teach the first competence in the improved curriculum in Form 1. As I said earlier, some of you might not be teaching Form 1 or O-level, but trust me, you'll gain something from this session. So kindly bear with me and ask questions where necessary. On this, you can use the chat box, and since Catherine is here, she can read anything for me. So the first competence has got 18 periods. And for the sake of this presentation, I've divided it into 9 double period, which makes a total of 18 periods. As a teacher, you can be flexible as you wish, but kindly let the students practice using the devices and interact more. So as I said, when I was answering, I think that was Matthias' question, ensure that you have smartphones, tablets, computer when you go to teach this competence. So I've tried to divide the lesson in minutes to help you break down the content, but you can have different versions. This is just a highlight of things. We'll begin with what I call day 1. And again, as I said, it's double period, that is 80 minutes. So in the first day, which you're going to start with the first learning activity, that is familiarize with various types of search engines. You can enter your class and you can begin with a brainstorming warm-up, whereby you can guide your students to brainstorm on vocabulary. On my slide, you can see I've put 5 vocabulary. So those are just samples. You can get more if you want to. This can be done individually. They can brainstorm individually, in pairs, in groups. It depends on the number of the students that you have. After they are done brainstorming, then you can give them a chance to give their answers in front of others in the class. And then after that, you have to explain about the vocabulary with examples where possible. And if you have pictures of these vocabularies, you can do that. Or if you have real life objects, you can use them as well. So if you have a computer, you can show them how the internet can be seen in the computer, how you can get information. If you have a smartphone, you can show them this is a smartphone, this is a tablet, this is a computer. So that's how you can start with on the first day. I've given that 10 minutes. I hope it's enough. On the presentation now, after they have done brainstorming, then you have to present on the vocabulary that they have brainstormed with examples, as I said, where possible. And then I've put here 2 questions that you can ask your students, because these ones are what we call Gen Zs. So I do believe they do use smartphones when they are home, most of them. Some might not, but most of them are using these ones. So you can ask them the 2 questions. The first one, You ask them if they use the internet and how. I'm very sure they'll tell you if they are using internet at home, if you are the friend. But if you are the teacher that they fear, well, that might not work. Because I know Form 1s have heard stories about teachers in secondary schools. But if you're a friendly teacher and they've heard stories about you being friendly, they will be able to tell you if they're using internet back home. And then you can ask them about the importance of using internet, and I'm very sure they will tell you as well. So when you're asking them about the importance of using internet and the first question, you can again put them either in groups or they can do it individually. Maybe you are just asking them and then you tell them to raise their hand and give you answers. It's like a classroom discussion. So it depends on their class size. It depends on how you want to interact with your students to get these answers. You can use groups, you can use pairs, you can use individual, you can use that classroom discussion mode. So I also believe that will take you about 30 minutes, give or take. From there, as I said earlier, they have to practice. So for this session, since you are still at the beginning level, we have a group discussion or a think, pair, share that can be done. If you have seen the TIE book for Form 1, there is activity 1A on page 2. So they can do this one. If you have not seen it, you can, after this presentation, you can go and take a look. I'll try to share whatever I can from this slides so that you can have a reference. So you can go and take a look at it. It's on page 2. They can do that for 20 minutes, and then they can use the other minutes to present or share what they have discussed with the rest of the class. And then after that, that means if you had a double period, then that will be the end. So make sure the students interact. They talk to each other, they discuss, they give you answers, and you can see throughout the session, students have interacted. They have to think, they have to speak to each other in the class, they have to write down some activities, they have to listen to each other and to the teacher. So all the 4 language skills are involved. Do we have questions before I move?
Yes, there is the question from Haika Mgonja. First of all, Happy God, please.
You can mute him. Happy God.
Okay.
Thank you.
Daudi Nestor said that this was the most conflicting topic to me. So I think Daudi has got the solution of the conflict that he has. Haika said that what if they say they don't use smartphone, especially those in rural area? Can I repeat? What if they say they don't use smartphones, especially those in rural areas?
Okay, so I think this is the question on the part that you ask the students the 2 questions, right? So if they don't use smartphones, if they don't use internet, and you also have a question on importance of using internet, then you might tell them the importance of using internet from your perspective. You tell them the importance of using internet from your perspective, because at the end of the day, they are going to practice using it. You are going to lead them. You're going to guide them to use internet. So at the end of the day, they will learn about it. They will practice using it. But again, if they have never used it before, you just, for the purpose of this session, you just give them the importance of using internet, which I believe most teachers do know, which include access to information. It helps with the communication connection. It also deals with education and some sort of learning if you have visual classrooms, digital libraries, online courses, tutorials. So as a teacher, I believe you do know these ones. So if your students have never used internet before, then you can tell them a bit about the importance of internet so that they will be interested to learn about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Irene. You can move on.
Thank you. So we're going to day 2, if we don't have any more questions. As I said, we have 9 days. So this is the second day. Again, it's 8 minutes. It's divided into other minutes here. So again, for the introduction, in the Thai book for Form 1, there is an activity 1C on page 3 to 4. I think this one, it's, if I've not forgotten, it's a passage they have to read and answer questions, if I've not forgotten. So you read it, and answer the questions. That can be a part of your introduction. They can be done, it depends on the number of the books you have. If you have 10, if you have 20, I don't know, in your school and your context. If you have a lot of books, they might do it individually, but if you have few ones, you can do it in groups or pairs, depends on your class size. So after they have done the exercise, the activity, then you can guide the students to discuss the answers from the activity that they've done. And then at the end of it, you can do a summary and conclude the activity. That will be your presentation now. Again, there is a practice that the students can do, which is also activity 1D in the textbook, which has a matching item questions on page 4. So they can do the matching item questions on page 4 and then present them. And then there is an activity, there is a question that wants them to compose sentences. So they can do that after they are done with the sentences and present them, because these ones are now Form 1. I'm very sure their sentences might have some errors. So you use the rest of the time to try to go through the sentences and correct the errors. These errors can be corrected by either the teacher or the other students, because I also do believe there are some students which might help you correct the errors.
Okay, Irene, before moving, there are some questions that are coming in our chat.
Okay.
One is from Infinix. Please, Infinix, can you rename your name and be called as your real name? But Infinix said that how do ensure that we teach the content together with language? That is question from Infinix. Daudi Nestor said that are all these 9 days on the same topic?
So I'll start with
Those two.
Daudi. The 9 days are on the same topic, as you want to call it a topic, but it's a competence. It has 18 periods. If you look at the syllabus, the competence has got 18 periods. So the 18 periods, I've divided them into 9 days. But again, you are a teacher, you are flexible, you know your class, you know your context. You can use that to your advantage. But for the sake of this presentation, I've divided them to 9 days. To Infinix, if they can rename to their names, that would be great. How do you ensure that we teach the content together with language? Again, I'm very sure when you are teaching this, you are using the language. And as I said earlier, there are some vocabularies you might find along the way. That's also teaching language. And as I said, for this day 2, there are sentences the students have to compose. That's also language. You have to correct some errors. That's also a component of language. I do believe that.
Okay, thank you, Irene. There is no more question. More than thank you. I'm really grateful. Yeah, so that is what is coming from our chat box. So you may go on.
Okay. So again, when you are in the first part, the first learning activity, it's all about the highlights, the general information of how these students can familiarize themselves with the search engines. We'll get into practical when you get to the second learning activity. So on day 3, we are still on the same learning activity. So to spice up your class, for the introduction, you can do a game on internet usage. It can be an online game, or it can be in person if you don't have a lot of devices. So if you have a lot of devices, the tech tools, the smartphones, if you have tablets, computers, you can do Kahoot, you can do quizzes. I know this can work better as games in class. But if you don't have them, again, you can do in-person game, because what I'm going to share can also be done in person. So it's a sorting game. So if you're doing it in person, that means you have to type or you have to write these words and sentences in a piece of paper, and then you cut them into pieces and you let your students sort them. So if you are doing it in person, again, if you're not doing it online, you type the words or you write the words in a piece of paper, and then you cut the paper and you let the students sort them into the way the game wants it to be sorted. So if you are doing it again, if you're doing it online, you can use Kahoot and quizzes for that. And if you guys want to learn how to create a Kahoot or quizzes game, I'm sure the HQ, TELTA HQ are here. They can arrange for that to take you through how to create Kahoot and quizzes games that you can use in your class. If you're using online games, it's way better because we're now talking about ICT tools, so that can work better. So I'll go next to show you some questions that you can use. These are just samples, but you can create yours. You can create yours. So these are just samples. As I said earlier, if you want to do it physically, you can just write these, the ones I call game cards, which are on the, it's the right side, right? Which are on the right side, the game cards. You can write those sentences, you can write those words and then cut them into pieces and then they sort them. You can do that. But if you want to do Kahoot, you need whatever I've said. You need a smartphone, you need computers, you need tablets, and then you need internet connection for the students to play the game. Again, this is just sorting. We have computers, smartphones, Wi-Fi router, mobile data, web browser. We have refrigerator, storybook, traffic light, shoes, and TV remote. So the students have to sort these words into, into things that needed to access the internet and things not needed to access the internet. These words, these things in pieces of papers, the students need to sort them into two groups. The first one is things needed to access the internet, and the second one is things not needed to access the internet. So if on your screen you see the first ones with the tick, those are things needed to access the internet, and the ones that are down there, those are the things that are not needed to access the internet. So that's just sorting. So if you are making it as a game, the ones who win, they'll need to get a prize. Whatever you choose to do to them, it's okay. The students can clap, they can cheer, they can do anything to just reward them for winning. So after the game, you're going to the presentation part, whereby now they've played a game, you were there, you guided them. You can lead the students to discuss what they have learned from the game. Which will be the things that people need to access internet, which will include computer, smartphones, Wi-Fi router, mobile data, web browser, and others. They can also mention some other things that they know, and then the other part as well. So I'm sure when they are mentioning this, you might ask backup questions. Again, that's an entity of language, as someone has asked earlier. And then after that might take 20 minutes. And then after that, you go to the practice part, whereby you let your students do activity 1E on page 5 of the book. And then they will present their answers to the class. After this session, I believe now, because we are now going to go to search engines from here, if you have seen the book from here, you are going to straight now to search engines. So you can give your students a homework. They should go and search or research about search engines, and that will be the next session for them. If there are questions, I can take them now before I move to the next day, Catherine.
There is one question from Napendaeli. Is it possible to play game with the student without having those tools? That is from Napendaeli.
Which tools, if I might ask? Because I've said how you can do it online and offline, online and in person. So for those who are having the devices, yes, they can do online. If you don't have, again, I've said you can write it on a piece of paper, cut them, and then they sort physically. It's just papers in class.
Yes, and the game is known as odd one out. So they can put out the words which are not related to the topic that you are teaching. For example, if it is ICT, we want to focus on ICT, then we can mix the games with different words, and then the student can sort out. If those words are not related with ICT, they're going to be out of that. Thank you, Irene. Another one is from Gracie, said that thank you, dear. Revocatu said, this is a very great session, Kabisa. Thank you, our presenter. So you may go on, Irene.
Thank you. So remember you had, now you had a homework on search engines with your students. So when they come maybe it's the next day or next week, they will be having answers on search engines. So that's when now you have to have smartphones or tablets or computer and internet bundle. So those are the resources you need from here henceforth. So I'm sure there are people who are saying they don't have enough tools, but again, as I've said, in government schools, teachers have tablets. You can find a way to use those. For those who have computer labs, so this is a great thing for you to do instead of just leaving the computer labs to the computer teachers. You can also do them. You can also use it. If you have one or two phones, and then again, you can find a way to do it your way. Depends on your context again. But again, the competence wants the students to use these tools to search for information online. That's the essence of it, because the world is changing. So again, for the introduction on this day, you can also do a game online or in person. Basically, the game is on different types of search engines because you told them to go and search for that. It's the feedback from the homework. So you can do an online or in-person game, and then you can do a simple presentation on it. I think I have here a sample of questions you can put in your game. If it's a Kahoot or it's a quizzes or you are doing it in papers, you can find a way for them to do it. These are just sample of questions. I have 7 of them, which are basically asking about search engines and their usage, right?
Okay, Irene, thank you. Irene, sorry, there is a doubt from Jamal Maringo, say that good presentation, though see difficult for many of us.
What's difficult?
Another
I
question
would like to understand where the difficulty.
Okay, so maybe once Jamal is thinking about that, we can give another question from Lillian. Joachim said that, sorry, presenter, I ask what is the difference between searching engines?
Well, I don't understand the question. I really don't get it.
He wanted to know
maybe
the search engines and browsers, maybe as you mentioned earlier, maybe he or she was not around. Maybe you can just repeat in a second and give
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if that's it, then the web browser, it's a software that is found in smartphones, tablets, iPads, computers. These are the softwares. And then when you enter into those browsers, you find search engines. So when you open your Google Chrome, you will find Google in it. When you open your Edge, you have Bing in it. So search engines are, in a simple way, you can say search engines are inside or within the browsers. The browsers are the big picture, and then the search engines are the component within the browser. I hope that can summarize it. If they want examples, then search engines are Google, Yahoo, and then you have Bing and many others. If you go to search them, you'll find them. But the browsers, the common ones, we have Google Chrome, we have Safari, we have Microsoft Edge, and we have Mozilla Firefox. Those are browsers, common ones. which most of us do use.
Thank you, Irene, for repeating that, and I hope that Lilia gets your meaning. Thank you.
Okay.
May you go on?
I know
Yes.
many people will keep saying few tools. We do understand you guys have few tools, but again, find a way to use the few tools that you have.
Okay. Yeah.
So after you are done with the introduction, that was only the introduction. Now you need to go to the presentation part, whereby you as a teacher, you need to do a demonstration on how to use search engines.
Can I contribute, please?
Can I please finish this day, and then I will let you all ask questions and contribute?
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, because I'll forget where I've ended. So I'll have to finish day 4, and then people can contribute. So now you need to demonstrate to your students how to use search engines and how they look like, because they have to know how they look like, how Google looks like, how Google Chrome looks like, how to use it. So now you can use your computer and projector to show them how it is done. That's the first way, if you have these in your school. But if you don't have a projector, again, you can put your students into groups, and then you go from one group to the other, demonstrating how to use this. And when you are done with one group, you can tell them to do activity 1F while you're moving to the next group. So assuming you don't have a lot of devices, you have maybe 3 or 2 or 1 smartphone, then you show your students in one group how they can use it, and then you leave the activity for them to do. You move to the next group and do the same. You have to demonstrate to your students how they can use these search engines practically, which I know most of you know how to use, because you mentioned Google all the way. So after you have demonstrated it and they have done the activity, the students can now practice how to use search engines. You can give them a question, you can give them something to search in the search engine, and then they can use the tablets, the smartphones, the computers that they have, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 10, to search for that information in these search engines. So one group might be using Google to search for the information, the other group might be using Bing to search for the same information. So now people can ask questions, and the one who wanted to contribute can do that now. I don't remember the name.
Yes, there is a contribution. There is a contribution before Rabina. There is a contribution from Anne Kabongo. Say that students will use it in the classroom. Just ask the tablet from Koli for the student to practice with. Now, I have to say that is the AI such as ChatGPT, etc. Also, the answer is yes. So
as I said earlier, ChatGPT is not a search engine. It's an AI. It's found. You can go to Google and then search for ChatGPT. You can go to Bing and search for ChatGPT.
So ChatGPT is...
It's not a search engine.
It's not a search engine.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So, Mwalimu Rabina,
Okay.
you may make contribution. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for the nice presentation, and I really appreciate. And it's the real time, because as we are beginning now with a new curriculum, and these new competencies are really new to most of teachers and students. But I have the contribution concerning these few tools we have in schools. I thought that currently most families have at least a smartphone. At least in each family, or just a neighbor may have smartphone. So I was thinking that when the presentation has been done in class, and depending on how students again have participated, we can send them to go at home where they are, because they can't possess smartphones at schools. So we just send them that when they got home, they go through these Google Chromes and whatever and try to search by using their parents' phones or neighbors or whoever. Then the following day during the lesson or during the discussion, then everyone share what he or she did and how he or she managed to do that. From there, it's when you can come up with something quite understood to students. But saying that with these tools available in schools, especially government schools, you find a teacher has one tablet, English language teacher, then to be useful to everyone, it becomes a bit challenging. But by assigning them that go at home, do this, do this, do this through your mother's phone or through your father's phone, then something good can be from them, and we can succeed. For example, we have these search engines, these browsers, just print these icons that Google Chrome looks like this, or Bing looks like this, or Firefox looks like this. So when they are shown to them and through their parents' phones, for instance, use them to search for this information, then the following day you can realize that they have come up with something quite presentable rather than being too theoretical by using tablets for the teacher just in class. So that's what I wanted to share with you through this presentation. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks so much, Mwalim Rabina, for your great contribution. Yeah, I tried to go
Thank
to the
you.
chat box. I see people there say that thank you, bro, for your contribution. My God, the internet is down. It is disturbing. Very sorry, Gracie, for the disturbance that you are getting. He must have said that I concur to his contribution. That is from for you, Rabina. Your contribution was so nice to this presentation. Back to you, Irene. Yes, Irene. Irene, are you there? Oh,
Okay, the internet kicked me out. Someone was calling and calling.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So again, the floor is yours, Irene. You can carry on. If you have anything to say on this, then you can talk.
There is a question. Question, please, on the chat.
Yes, yes. On the chat.
You can just ask it, Monaidi,
Oh,
while it's loading.
Moana said that
Okay.
if we take an example of form and content, can we search engine in a form and browser, a content
Maybe I
vice
can
versa?
ask Catherine. I was referring to literature, like form and content. So I want people to understand, like, when you say search engine, is it like a form, then the browser is the content, or vice versa?
Okay.
We take
You're
an
good
example, a cup
literature,
of tea
Moana.
and a tea inside. So what is
Yeah.
confusing? Like Jamal said, it's confusing.
Okay, let me try. I think
Hi,
the
Irene or Catherine. Can I give maybe one example? Is going to be more helpful to understand them too, like a domestic
okay,
example.
happy good your
So, so you have a refrigerator, a very big fridge. You want food, so you want any food materials from there. The refrigerator is a web browser. It gives you the foods. But within the refrigerator, there are different compartments that put different things. Somewhere you can take fruit, somewhere you can take juices, somewhere you can take water. Those small compartments is what we call them as a search engine. So you can't go to the search engine without opening the fridge, which is the web browser. I think that is going to be helpful.
Okay. So Moana, browser is and search engine is that
small
Is
compartment.
a brother is a form. Is a form and contents. Get the answer,
Thank
Mwanaidi?
you.
The form and contents.
Yes.
Good example from literature.
They are laughing, they're enjoying because I
Okay.
helped them.
Okay. Another master said that browser and search engine is like gens and poetry. Oh, that is another example. Okay. If there is more question, please you may chat. You may write in the chat box. Steven said that well explained, brother. Yeah, thanks so much, Stevie. That is to God love.
Can
Haida
I
said
move
that
on?
thank God love. Yes, you can move on.
Okay. So we are moving to day 5, and I've shown you some examples of questions you can create for games. So I'm no longer going to show you more. I didn't have enough time to create everything. It's a lot. So for this day, because now the students are also familiar with the search engines, you can, if you are good with music, I know some of you are very good with music, you can create a song about different search engines and then make your students sing along for recap. If you don't have creativity on that part of music, if you're like me, you cannot even sing, you can do a game, you can do a story, you can tell story for those storytellers, anything you can do, just make sure you are just doing a recap for the types of search engine. So that's a warm-up activity you can create for your students. And then for the presentation part, now for this day, I've chosen to use role play for the students. So you just tell your students what to do, you divide them into groups, and then you give them scenario. You can create scenarios. These scenarios should base on usage of ICT in their searching for information. So the scenarios should base on that. You just tell them, you give them the scenario, you tell them to read, be creative, prepare a role play from the scenario provided. They rehearse. That might take around 20 minutes. And then after that, they have to come and role play in front of the class. It's acting, it's role playing. So maybe a scenario wants them to, maybe a teacher is telling students to search for a certain information. So when they are role playing, there will be a class of a teacher and students, and then the teacher is giving instruction to the students to search for a certain information. The students are searching for it, and then they give the answers. So that's how maybe that role play might play out. So for those who are teaching literature, I know this is one of the ways you are using. So for those who are not teaching literature 1 and 2, yeah, you can do role plays as well. Instead of every time just asking questions and questions, make your students play the roles that you want them to do. They should act. And I do believe the role plays might not take more than minutes. So after they have played, you can give your comments, and then students can also give their comments from what they have observed and what they have done. If there are questions on that part before I move on.
Through the chat box, there is no question.
There is
More than congratulations. Nice presentation. And
have you
Monaiki and Tina, they are joking. So there is no more question.
Catherine, I know you can sing the song. Try singing it.
Do you want the song?
There is a song in the chat box.
Oh, where is it? I don't see it. You want me to?
Mwanaidi want to sing it.
Okay, Mwanaidi, can you do that?
Thank you. Okay. I have a ball. I put it on Mozilla. I check it. Media, I have a ball.
Okay. Yeah,
now Media
performance
disappointed
very
you.
nice one. So Media, you can continue. Media, you'll be pointed, Media.
So that's an example of the song. I think Mwanaidi wanted Mija to sing along, but Mija was still sleeping.
Okay,
if
thanks
there
so
are no
much,
more
Mwanaidi, for
questions,
starting our meeting.
so that was day 5. So we are going to day 6. We are almost done, guys. Don't worry. We are almost done. Again, because it's IC2 tools, you can create an online game. If you can't do that, you can do anything else. Just for the recap of the ICT tools. And then this is where we are beginning utilizing ICT tools to search for general information on day 6, which is the second learning activity for this competence. So now the students have to start searching for information, like search. The first part we are just going broadly, but now you have to be specific. They have to really search for it. So as I said, you can do an introduction with a game or a song, a storytelling, or anything about ICT tools. And then now for the presentation part, you have to demonstrate how to search for information in a web page. So you can use any page of your choice. I've seen in the book there is a Thai page, a Thai website. If you can help mute Rosie. Happy God. Thank you. So you can use any website of your choice. But in the book, I've seen they have the Thai website in the book. Again, you can use, it's the same process. You can use a computer with a projector to show them how it is done. If you don't have a projector, as I said earlier, you can put them in groups, and then you go from one group to the other, demonstrating how to do it. When you are done with one group, you give them an activity. That now will be 1F, I think, while you move to the next group. So you have to demonstrate how this is done for them to see it clearly so that they can practice. So after that, you let your students now do activity 2A and 2B in groups or in pairs, depending on your class size. So again, it's about searching for information. You need smartphones, you need tablets, you need computer, and most importantly, you need internet bundle. That's very important. Don't go with smartphones and tablets without having internet bundle. Let me move on and then we can take questions maybe after this one. Okay. Because it's also practical. So again, for the other day, that will be day 7. Now, as I said in the book, there is a Thai website. So because there is a Thai website, and I think they wanted also these students to know how to use the website, to know how to use the library so that they can find books which are found in the Thai library. So as a teacher, when you go to the day 7, you have to explain to students what is found in the Thai website, which includes the syllabus and the library. If you go through the Thai website, you'll see that. You can check out the website before entering the class and see what's found there. And then for the demonstration part, you see in the book, they want the students to sign up for the Thai library. Help me mute Hassan. It wants the students to sign up for the Thai library. So what you need to do as a teacher, you need to show them how they can sign up for the library step by step. You demonstrate it step by step. If you have done it in your device already, you can look for advice of someone who has not done it, or you can use another. I think we are signing up using an email. You can use another email to sign up. So, okay. Happy good. That's Reginald. Okay. So you need to show them how to do it. And then for the practice part, now the students have to do it on their own. So whether they're using a computer or they're using whatever, you can, because now you might not have a lot of time. If they have emails, they can use their emails to sign up for the library. If they don't have, you can create an email for them 2 or 3 emails and then lead them and guide them to sign up for the library, and then lead them to search for information in the website that includes the books. They can go through it. They can go through the books that are found in the library. If that's not possible, again, because you guys talked about few tools, if that's not possible, then you can help lead them to search for information in other websites like Nectar. People are always asking how I can maybe see the results or something. Yes.
Excuse me, Tumaini, can you please mute yourself? I mute and you keep unmuting.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. As I said, people are always asking how to search for the results when the results are out, whether it's Form 4, Form 2 or something. You can also show your students how to look up for that in the Nectar website, which doesn't need to sign up. So yeah, you find alternatives if you can't do the Thai library. So I think that will take you a lot of time for students to practice that. It might even take the whole period. So for the other 2 days, which are day
what's
8
the
and 9.
long form of moist? The long form of moist.
It's Ministry of Education, Science and Technology.
Thank you.
So for the last 2 days, it's more about practicals, because the students really need to use these and practice to search for information. You as a teacher just need to have different questions, different things that the students need to search for, so that you give them that instruction for them to search for these things. They use the tablets, they use the smartphones, they use the computers to search for the information. And again, make sure that you tell them to go through the Thai library to check out the books. There are a lot of books in the library. I think that was also one of the aim for this part. They want them to go through that library to see the books, because we are always complaining we don't have books. So we need to show our students that there are some informations which are found online. They can even find books online. They can find journals online. So they need to know that as early as in Form 1. So I think I'm done with the competence. Thank you. We can now take questions, and I will leave the other part to Catherine.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks so much, Irene, for your nice presentation. Now is the time for the Q&A question. So if you have any question, you may raise up your hand or you may chat in our chat box. Then I'm here to read for you. And our presenter, Irene, is ready to respond for your question. So you are welcome. Feel free to ask anything about this first session of our competence learning. You are welcome.
Hello.
May you raise up your hand so I can...
Yes, hello.
Yes, Chuma.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate your presentation. I like it simply because we have got the new syllabus of Form 1. So this is going to be helpful for teachers of Form 1. I really appreciate your presentation. In addition to that, if you don't mind, you can share with us the slides. That's what I can share with you. Big up for your presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Chuma. I'll find a way to share these ones. Thank you.
Excuse me, Irene.
Yes.
Irene, can I request you something?
I have a question.
Catherine.
Okay, happy good.
Can I request that for those who want to ask the question, they press their action and raise their hand so that they won't have interference with each other?
Yeah.
May you raise up your hand, please? Raise up your hand so that you can make your contribution, or we may ask anything. So please raise up your hand.
I also do understand that you have teachers who went for the baseline workshops and are here. So thank you guys for coming in. This is just an additional thing for you to get.
Yes, we have Mwalimu Rabina. You are welcome. I saw your hand.
Yes, thank you very much. I again really appreciate the presentation. I used to ask my fellow teachers, don't you think that it's equally important, at least this topic number 1 or other new topics from the newly modified syllabus that should be taught to these Form 2 so that in case of anything happening to their mock examinations or next or whatever they may be, at least to respond to them. It's my worry that it may happen that these new issues, new things, new competencies, and can be set in their examinations. Don't you that it's equally important at least to teach them to current Form 2s? Thank you.
Irene, can you respond to that, or should I respond it?
Okay, that was actually for everyone who is teaching Form 2. That's where the question was going. But I would also love to cement on that, because I do understand that there were some schools that started this last year as a pilot. So really the question might come in the national assessment, but we are not sure if it will be there, but it might come, because there were some schools which are the pilot schools that started this last year. So really the teachers of Form 2, if you get time, you can take your students through this. It's not even for the exam only, it's for their daily lives. This is how we live now. ICT is what is going on in the world. Thank you,
Yeah.
Catherine.
In addition to that, because now we are going to start this improving curriculum with Form 1, so it is basically to the Form 1. So let us consider it to the Form 1 and some part of it to Form 2 if you have time. But for those selected the school as a pilot, I think they have already started this from last year. So that is what I can say about that. Yeah, there is a hand from William Boyer. Then the next one will be Sicharwe Peter. William Boyer, you are welcome.
And Catherine, before he asks, I would like to tell you to take Sichwale, the last one. Other questions can be typed in the chat box and then I will answer there. You can go after Sichwale with the next part.
Okay, thank you. Can we start with Boya?
Unakunywa maji ya baridi eh? Kunywa sana.
Greetings,
Kunywa
Naetwe.
sana.
Naetwe, you are
William?
making noise.
Is William muted? Oh, we lost him.
I think William is lost. Now let us go to Peter.
Okay. Hello.
William.
Sorry, I had difficulties in network. Thank you.
William.
Yes, I'm William. Okay, first I want to congratulate and I appreciate the presentation. My question lies on, I have liked this session. I'd like maybe to ask if I can get a recorded copy of the session. Will that be possible?
Okay, I think TELTA HQ recorded the session, so they will share the recording.
Okay, thank you. And how can I get maybe if I want to further review next time?
Hi, William.
Yes.
So that the recorded link session for the link for the session is going to be shared across. So whenever you got the link to join this, it's going to be shared back the recorded. So don't worry. If you got from someone, he will sure send it back. It's from the baseline groups. You'll get right there. If it is from the other TELTA groups, then you get every platform will be shared. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Happy God, for that contribution and remove the doubt to our presenters. You're going to get this material, so don't worry, just be calm. And I hope our headquarters leaders, they're going to share all the information with you that we have been doing here together. Thanks so much, Happy Body. Now it's time for Peter. Peter, you have raised up your hand, so the floor is yours. Peter?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Petros Icharwe. Thanks so much for this opportunity that you have been providing us the knowledge about the issue of ICT. But I just want to ask if this program will be a continuous or just it was just today because I just found this somewhere shared with me, and the program is very useful. So I just want to know if this program will be a continual program or not.
Yes, Peter, Petro, may I clear the doubts that this program will be continuously, and next week we are going to continue with the competence number 2. Once we go to our curriculum and our syllabus, we are going to go through the competence learning number 2. So watch out and come all together so that we can learn together and contribute to the improving curriculum. So don't worry about that. You are welcome, Petro.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think, Catherine, we are done. Thank you, and thank you, everyone. I'll leave the floor to you now.
Okay, thank you very much, Irene, for your nice presentation. I saw in the chat box many people there congratulate you. So we have done a great things to our fellow teachers, and we plan to go through how we can design a lesson plan and a scheme of work, just roughly, because this is a improving curriculum. So we have a lot of doubt how to make our curriculum, how to make our scheme of work, how to write our lesson plan. So I have prepared a part of it, and then you're going to see. And from there, we can continue by adding the information of the scheme of work and the lesson plan. So here is what I'm going to share with you this evening. And if you have any contribution, you can help me to bold it and make it more clear. So
Hi, Catherine, are you there?
yes, I'm trying to make sharing. Do you see it?
Oh, okay, sure.
Do you
Yes,
see it?
yes, we can see that.
Sure, it's now.
Okay, so I'm going to read this. Let's see. I can't read this side. Okay, so I have tried to take this from the workshop that we had about this improving curriculum from 30. So this we no longer call it as main topic and subtopic. Now we have changed it from main topic to subtopic. Now we have been changed to have moving now to the main competence, specific competence, learning activities, specific activities, teaching and learning methods, teaching and learning resources, assessment tools, reference, and remark. So you may find that most of us, we don't have any conflict on making on writing the main competence and the specific competence. But the great conflict that we are being created from this, that we are not sure, is how to developing the learning activities and specific activities, and also how to divide the number of periods, and also how to write the remarks. So you find that in those 3 to 4 areas, that is what I want to make an elaboration this evening. So when you're talking about learning activities, you can take it from the from our curriculum. It is there, familiarized with various types of search engine, as Irene has passed us through. But when you talk about specific activities, this you can get it directly from our textbook. But what you need is to make it to be competence that our students, they're supposed to do. You have to instruct the student to do something. For example, in a specific activities, you may say that identify different terminology related to ICT. So the one who is going to do this is a student, and teaching and learning method can be brainstorming, practical, as Irene has passed us through the practical. You find that we have a lot of practice. You have to practice. So the teaching and learning method should be the practical and the brainstorming, and also teaching and learning resources. You have to find those as a smartphone, tablets, as been observed there. But for the assessment tools, you have to have the observation schedule. You have to have an observation schedule. That this observation schedule is a paper that you write the way you're going to observe the students while they are doing a certain task. And then you need to have the list of the questions that you're going to ask the students to do those list of the to respond to the question. So this list of questions, you have to write it in a checklist. Through the checklist is when you can ask the students the question, and if the students are going to respond to the questions, is when you can tick and make sure that now your students are responding the question, and you can count how many students have responded to the question and how they did wrong. So from there, you can get the remarks that if the lesson is well understood or the lesson is not well understood. And don't end it that the lesson, not ending by saying only the lesson is not well understood, but you have to comment. You have to give the challenge, you have to give the solution. If the lesson was not well understood, maybe that is the challenge of you don't have enough devices. What have you solved the problem? And if you have solved the problem, you have to indicate how far have you solved the problem. And if not, what is your suggestion? You have to give the suggestion so that when someone come and read is when he or she can get the suggestion from what you have suggested from your scheme of work. And in case of division of period, for example, the first main competence has got two specific competencies. And these two specific competencies, they're supposed to be done within 18 periods. So you have to divide. For example, you are going to start as January, the 4th week. For example, that is not a real example because this is what is happening to Form 1s. We are supposed to teach only 5
Excuse me,
periods in our week. Yes?
Catherine, excuse me. Some participants are asking you to go a little bit slower. So if you can, yeah.
So you have to teach 5 periods in a week. So if you are teaching 5 periods in a week and you have divided your period, your period, the number of period is 18 period to cover this competence. And you're supposed to teach 5 period in a week. So you may take 5 period in a 4th week, and then you remain with 3 period to make 8. So if you remain with 3 weeks to make 8 periods, so you take that 3 period, then you shift it into another new month. So for example, in this scheme of work which I designed, is that the 4th week of January, I talk about managing information, searching from different sources for lifelong learning. Use ICT tool to search for information from different sources, and learning activities. Familiarize with various types of search engine, for example, that one. And specific activities is identify different technology related to ICT. So maybe I can take that into 5 periods, and that is 1 week. And then you remain with a 3 period. Then the 3 periods goes to February 1st. Then you can identify various types of search engine and familiarize with different types of search engine. That should be the 1st week of February, but you're going to use 3 periods. And this can depend with the weight of the specific activities and the learning activities. So if you find that the learning activities and the specific activities is expanded or is big, so you have to increase also the number of periods. But that is how you can divide it. Do you get the point? Hello?
Yes, we do, Catherine.
Yes. Thank you very much. So this also, I said that this was what I have designing after attending the workshop. So I find that, for example, utilizing ICT tools to search for general information, that is competence learning activities number 2. So once you go once you go to the specific activities, you have to use an action verb. Assign the students to search for the web page to get some information. So once you go to the practical, that it is really practical that the students are the one who they're supposed to do to search for the information. So we are not again using the word to guide, to lead, maybe to assign. So you have removed that word. If you say that to sign, to guide, to lead, that is wrong. You are supposed to use the word assign. Assign instead of to assign. Lead instead of to lead. Guide instead of to guide. Ask the student instead of to ask the student. That is the changes that we made. I think I have well understood when we talk about scheme of work. So let us go again to the example of a lesson plan. Lesson plan. Okay, can you share me? Do you see my lesson plan? Hello?
It is not seen.
Okay,
It,
I'm
it,
trying
it is still a scheme. You're still on the scheme of work.
So I'm trying to share in the lesson plan. Just give me a minute, okay?
All right. Take your time, McCarthy.
Okay.
And Irene,
I
please,
think
can you unmute yourself, Irene, so that you can help moderate
we
while
can
I'm
we can
reflecting
see it
there.
now.
okay. So this is example of a lesson plan that we work it in our workshop. And you know the pattern of the lesson plan. Everyone knows the name of the school, teacher's name, form, subject, and also the time, date. And this, you know that this is the tool that the teacher is supposed to prepare every time once you enter in a classroom. You have to have this one. It's like a driver of the learning. So in the lesson plan, we don't have any conflict with main competence, specific competence, learning activities. We don't have any conflict on the main competence. You don't have any conflict on specific competence. You have take it, you have to copy it directly from your scheme of work. But what would the conflict that we have is on the developing of the lesson. Once you go to the developing lesson process, in this developing process, you have to consider about E5. E5, which is evaluation, evaluation is cut across on the evaluation is cut across on engage, explore, evaluate self. So it goes around, it's cut across. Everything that you have to do, you have to evaluate, you have to engage your student, you have to explore your student. And also it goes to the creative, collaborative, we go to that 4C. I think everyone know about 4C. If you're talking about 21st century, you know all about this 4C and E5. So what you can do in introduction, you have to consider about engage your learners. Engagement can appear in all stages, but mostly supposed to be seen. at introduction part. Why we say that engaging is supposed to be seen at introduction part? Because an introduction part is the part that you are making your students to be ready to receive the new information that you're going to give them. If you're not going to warm up the class to make your class to be more engaging, we know our students, they're coming from different parts of the disaster with a lot of social emotions, a lot of problems at their family. Sometimes maybe the first period was mathematics example. Maybe a teacher has used a stick, punishing a lot of harassment somehow, as we know. But if you enter the class without making the students to be more engaging and more interacting, you can left him far away from what you're going to give to them. So we say that introductory part should be the part of engaging, that you make your learners to be more active, to be more engaging to any process that you're going to give them in your class. So in the first competence that I designed, I talk about introduction by saying teaching activities. Ask students to mention different types of search engine and browsers they know. So you see how I said that? I didn't say that to ask the student. You ask the student to do something. So once you ask the students to do something in a learning activities, what do you expect? That mention different types of search engine, that the students, they are ready now to mention the different types of search engine. So through mention different types of search engine is when now the student can be engaging by mention those. So here you can practice the pair, as was being mentioned by Irene. You can group the students, and then you can play a game to make to enable the students to mention. They can recite a poem. So you have to design any activity that the student can be ready to mention, or to give the to mention types of search engine and browsers that you want them to do or to mention. And for the assessment criteria, do you remember that in criteria tools there, you say that you're going to use the checklist, you're going to use the observation shadow. So assessment criteria, it means that you take it from the learning activities now. How do you know this? There is the assessment criteria. So what's happening after these learning activities? So you take that different types of search engine and the browsers are mentioned. So for the assessment criteria, you get the result of what has been happening to the learning activities. And once you go to the competence, it's a matter of explore, that what the students has been explored now. In this exploration, that demonstrate on how to search for information using various search engine and browsers. Once you go to the, the second or third slide of Madam Irene, you have seen that now you demonstrate teachers. What I do in teaching activities, demonstrate together, students and teachers. Yes. Happy Godi, please, can you help me to unmute someone who's speaking? So for the demonstration on how to search for information, use various search engine and browsers, and then learning activities, search for information, use various search engine and browsers. Now, learning activities, the students now have done that, searching for information. So once you go to the assessment tools, you have to say that information is search D. Information is search D, using various search engine and the browsers. And if we say that maybe assign student to define different vocabulary, in learning activities, you say that define different vocabulary. That is the students that are supposed to do, to define different vocabulary. In an assessment tools, you have to say that different vocabulary were defined. So that is how you can develop in the competence, develop the, and what we have been suggested here in teaching activities, don't go through only one teaching activities. You have to consider how many teaching activities you are going to develop according to the time that you have been divided in your lesson. For the design, here is creating. It is all about creativity. Now, what students have designed? What is the backpack? Do they take it back home? So you have to consider about how you assign students. So here you assign students in the group to write 2-paragraph composition on advantages of search engine and browsers on getting reliable information. So you cannot say that to assign a student. No, assign a student now. But how can you assign a student to do something? Maybe you can assign them by grouping them. You can assign them by give them the jigsaw. You may assign them by doing any activity that you think now. By doing this is when I'm going to assign my student to write something which I like or I've been intended to do. And then after that, you assign the students to write a composition in the learning activities. You're going to see now, write 2-paragraph composition on advantages. So in assessment, you are going to see the composition is written. You are going to see the composition which is written. So you have to write composition is written. And in realization, you distribute exit tickets to students to explain what they have learned. So this is another way that you can do. You can distribute tickets to students to explain what they have learned in 3 sentences, to write what they have learned using existing tickets in 3 sentences, and in an assessment, you can get that exist ticket written by the students. So not say by the students, but you have to consider that who are supposed to write that are the students, but the exit ticket are written. And lastly, you have to write the remarks. So here for the remarks, you can write by looking if your lesson has been well understood by the students, or if you have any comment, you have to write here at the remarks. So the lesson was well taught, however, there were a scarcity of ICT devices, which made it difficult for each student to search for information on his or her own. I advise the school to supply enough devices. So you may write this as advice. You may write this what you have seen after teaching, all the process that you have gone through in your teaching and learning process. So thank you very much, my dear participant. This is what I want to share with you this evening. If you have any suggestion, if you have any question, yes, now the time is you to give any question, to give any challenge on this. But that is what you have learned. If you have any contribution, I know that there are many teachers who have been participated in this program. So if you have any additional question, you may add on this. Or if you have any solution, you may add on this so that you can learn together. Thank you very much. Okay, happy God.
Thank you, Catherine. On the point ya upendeleo, I will request if you share the scheme sample and the lesson plan templates. It's been a very, very huge request for that because they are having a huge frustration, especially on the lesson development part. So kindly share, then we can distribute across the group. Just the templates, and the other material they'll get through the recorded. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share it with you. Happy God, don't worry about that. So let me stop sharing. If you have any question, if you have any contribution, we need more contribution on this. So if you have any contribution, please, you are welcome. Yes, I saw the Chuma Majaliwa, your hand's up.
Okay, thank you very much for welcoming me once again. I have a question about the assessment criteria part. Is it necessary or is it good to write, for example, on the introduction part, particularly in assessment? Should we write to check if students are able to answer questions or what? I want to know the place of assessment. Thank you.
You are not going to write the students, if the students have answered the question. You have to say that the question the question answered. So you have to you have to go with the questions. You have to prepare the question list. You see, we have the criteria, we have the criteria tools and tools of assessment. So criteria tools is the question and answers, but the tools, the assessment tools is the question list. Do you get my point?
I got it, Kathy. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes, if there is any contribution, I know that there are so many teachers who participated in the workshop. Please bring the contribution. We are growing, we are improving, and together we need to improve for our improved curriculum. Yes, transfer Mvula. Mvula?
Thank you for this invitation and this opportunity to contribute anything that I have. A starter, I've one comment in two presentations of this scheme of work and this lesson plan. In the scheme of work, you not always be confused, but with these sessions, sometimes get on the right track. There is a problem of this assessment criteria, as Mr. Choma has raised out here. Sometimes that we are asked or we are advised to write the assessment tools, like maybe a test, examination, quiz. How do this one now accepted in the presentation that you have done? Are they also can they also be included? Maybe I can put in term of question, then I see. And I don't know if I can go even to directly to lesson plan also, if you can note this question. In the assessment area again, there were different ideas and advices, and I don't know how can I put this one, but we were asked also to write in terms of statement and question if possible. But at the end, we are insisted it has to be in a statement form. So now, which is which now? Where do we stand with this the new curriculum?
For what I know and what I've been attended for the workshop is that for the question, like we are preparing the quizzes and you're preparing the test, that is going to be in a planning for the maybe monthly test or weekly test. But here, because we're making the lesson plan, it means that within your lesson, how are you going to test your students if they have understood the lesson? So from there, you have to prepare the criteria, that is the assessment tools, and also you have to prepare the assessment tools. And the assessment tools can be question list. But if those students, they're going to answer, how are you going to measure that now my students has pronounced the word well? You have to have the checklist. So the checklist can be an assessment tool. For example, if a student, maybe you give the work in a group, for example, you give a work in a group, maybe to recite a poem. What are you going to measure? We have the topic of pronunciation. You are going to measure how the students, they pronounce the word correctly. You can measure when they are making the presentation. What are you going to measure from there? Maybe you are going to measure the eye contact, for example. Maybe you are going to measure their confidence on responding. So you have to make a checklist, and each student you have to mark. If a student A pronounced the word correct, you have to tick. Now my student A has pronounced the word very correct. If a student B pronounced the word wrong, you have to correct. So you have to make a mark in your checklist. Or you can make you can create the questions. Maybe you want to make an observation. So if you want to make an observation, you have to have the assessment tools of the observation shadow. So what are you observing? Maybe you're observing how your student has been engaged. If your student is not well engaged, what you want you to do. Maybe I'm going to ask my students to stand up and sit down, and then you mention the name, for example, Catherine, stand up, clap your hands, do like that. So by doing that is when you're developing an observation. You have seen the student is not acting in a class. So by doing that, you make tick in a shadow that maybe Catherine is not good today. She didn't stand up and sit down as instructed. So you use an
Hi, Catherine. I think you went muted. Hello?
She is not muted, but I think maybe her mic misbehaved.
Yeah. So maybe you can take after her, then she'll come back to catch up, Irene, if you won't mind.
Wow.
So what I see is the hand from Sanity. Maybe you can just continue with, or if you
Yeah,
had something to
Santi,
contribute.
yes.
Yeah.
Santi, you can ask or contribute.
Thank you. I have a question for Catherine, or maybe for all of you. I think that lesson plan was for secondary schools, and in developing assessment was the asking maybe I don't remember well what exactly she just said, but it was more like commanding. And we as a primary school teachers, as I got from workshops, they said we are supposed to put the engaging, not asking. We are supposed to put facilitating them and not teaching or guiding. So is it okay for the primary school teachers to put the asking, the teaching, the guidings, or is it okay to put the facilitating in play and so forth? Hello.
Okay, thank you. What I can say that we have different ways that we write lesson plans and schemes. And again, every district, every region, every Mdhibiti Ubora has their ways. I don't think that writing, facilitating, or any other verb you have used is bad. It's a good way. So you can just continue writing using those verbs. It's very okay. It's very okay.
Oh, thank you. I thought maybe there is difference between lesson plans for secondary schools and lesson plan for primary schools.
You know, even for secondary schools, sometimes there are confusion everywhere. So you just stick to what you are told to do. Yeah, there are confusions. Someone might tell you to use ask, and then the next one will come and tell you not to use ask, use guide, use lead. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
in addition, just to add, I think
Yeah.
the key is to pay attention to the 4 C's. Are you collaborating? Are you fostering collaboration? Are you fostering communication? Are you fostering critical thinkings? So whatever you do, the activity should have an end in mind to foster the 4 C's and 5 E's, just as Catherine mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Peter Sichwale.
Yes, thank you so much. I just want to ask this issue on the issue of scheme of work. There is a place that is a column that concerning with specific activities. to the way I've seen, I think that every teacher or every place, there will be a difference between the specific activities of one teacher to another, if not mistaken. Hello?
Yeah, I've heard you, and I would like those who went for the workshop to help us answer this. We have
Okay.
people here who went for the workshop with the Thai people.
Okay, because I'm asking this because we
Can
don't get we don't we don't
the
we don't get specific. Yes, we don't get the specific activities from the syllabus or from the scheme of, from the syllabus to make in a scheme of work, and we are just making it by ourselves. That means that every teacher will have its own specific activity. That is right in each topic.
Okay, the specific competence is found on your book, on the book that they use, that they use to read, they use to be taught, is where you found the specific competencies.
Specific
Because
activities. I'm talking about specific activities. I'm talking about specific activities.
yeah, you will find there. You find from the
Okay.
book. What are they going to do at exactly period?
Okay, so that means that every teacher will have its own specific activities from one teacher to another. So it means that they're going to be different.
They are going to be different because you are the one who is choosing what to teach
Okay.
at that particular time.
Okay, thank you so much. So that means the issue of sharing the scheme of work, it won't be there, because even if you share, it means you won't use it because somebody else has planned it for his or her own intention.
No.
Okay, the
The
resources,
issue of-
let me
Yeah.
try to answer him. The resources, that is scheme and lesson plans, will be shared for you to just have a look, and you can prepare your own. You can be flexible. So they're just
Exactly.
shared as templates for you to take a look and prepare your own. Because I do believe that scheme of work and lesson plan are the teacher's properties. You have to understand them. You have to know how you're going to use them. So you prepare them yourself. So those are just samples for you to have a look at.
Okay, thanks so much, Irene.
Yeah. We have Amina. Amina, you
Well,
can.
I just
Yes.
wanted to add on that the specific activities. When I went to the seminar, the one who was just told us that each and every person has got a different kind of class, meaning that you have your own pupils. You know which activity will be good for them. So you just go with the activity which manage, depending on your resources, the nature of your learners, and even your own mood of the day. So that is what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So it all goes back to the context of where you are teaching. Yeah. Let me check. We don't have Catherine back. Anyway, I think she was done, by the way. Happy God.
Yeah, so Irene, with all due respect, this is your sessions. I was volunteering to mute and unmute.
Yeah, because you are also the one who is recording. So
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I will give the token to you. Maybe I should extend my thanks to the newcomers who have just come for the first time on the TELTA's activities and they never showed up. We met these people through the baseline trainings, and some of them we are very committed to enough to come for this session. So it's something that we don't take it lightly. We appreciate them. And that's something I can say. And for the introduction, for those who have come, if there are ladies, this is a ladies thing, TELTA ladies thing. They have organized it. They put a lot of work on it, and we really, really appreciate you guys have taken us to a lot of complicated. Now we at least have a light of how to go about this. So thanks so much. Maybe hand over to
Yeah, I would also like to thank everyone who stayed here. It's been 2 hours
you for
now.
finalizing and stuff.
Yeah, it's been 2 hours. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you next time. It will be shared when and at what time. It will be shared. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.
Don't
Did I
forget
stop
to
recording?
don't forget to share the lesson plans and schemes.
They will be shared. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good night, all.
Thank you. Happy God, you can end the meeting.
Okay, bye everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.